Yo, yo, yo.
Hey, back. We back.
Episode two, man. Episode two.
And back with another one for the second time. First time wasn't good enough, second time not good enough. It's never gonna be good enough. We always gonna be here.
Yeah, man. We wanna firstly, before we even get started, man, we wanna just give a huge thank you to all the people that kind of blitzed us with support, followed our page, interacted with our reels, listened to our podcast, whether it was through Apple, watched our video on YouTube, through Spotify, man. That's crazy, man. This is always, I think, great to be reminded of like the support system we got in place. The people that want to see us win, want to see us do well. So yeah, man, that was major for me, man. Just seeing us. I think we got started out. I think when I said the first episode, we had 67, 68 followers, went up to 125 followers. Got 3K views on the first reel. So yeah, man, we appreciate y'all, bro, because the support, man, that y'all been showing, people are receptive to what we saying. So I'm personally really happy about that you guys are actually, what I'm saying, like kind of seeing what we're saying and actually getting some value out of it, bro. So I'm glad this wasn't just a waste of hour for y'all. Y'all really kind of, seeing the vision that we kind of have for this platform, man.
Absolutely. And not only that, man, appreciate all the feedback. Appreciate all the people that
Facts.
reached out with their thoughts. And that's something we encourage, right? We want to know how we can keep you guys interested, what information you want to know, how we can grow as a platform. And that's something that we have to do together. So definitely grateful for all the love and support on all platforms. We're on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Just look up Black Box Theory Podcast on Google. You'll see where we're at. So appreciate all that for sure.
For sure, man. So, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna go ahead, hop into it, man. Got a couple headlines we wanna kind of break down for this week. First and foremost, commodities are still hot. Silver is up 27% in the first 2 weeks of 2026. Gold still at all-time highs. I know y'all seen the news. Trump just, trying to dominate other countries, invade other countries, backing down a couple days later. Markets are looking crazy right now. S&P and Nasdaq both hit new records. So it's like this is one of those years. I think it's going to be the news and the markets might not be as correlated as we thought. You know what I'm saying? Trump can do some and the market's still looking like they sitting at all-time highs, man. So it's going to be very interesting to kind of see like how his policies and whatever new headline he comes up with the next day kind of affects different sectors and industries, man. So this is going to be interesting for sure.
Yeah, keep your eyes open, man. Market manipulation allegedly. That also, I just saw something earlier where he said he was going to threaten. Well, he's threatening to put tariffs on countries that did not support his effort to
That's
take
crazy.
Greenland.
That's
So
crazy to me.
even politics aside, which that's a whole thing in itself. Like Malcolm said, that's insane. It's crazy, but that's market knowledge as well. So pay attention to some people say, read
Yeah.
the tea leaves.
Tell me out, man. So, yeah, man, we in a room today. We opening up the menu while markets, and geopolitics not as aligned. Like I said, while Thomas's call from last week, Taiwan Semiconductor, 56 billion bet, just validated AI infrastructure in the semiconductor cycle. Apple paying Google $1 billion to Siri tells you everything you need to know about who's ahead in AI race right now, like who's the top dog. Company I also said last week, we're gonna get into it though. But like always, man, these views are ours alone. These do not represent Microsoft or our employers. This is not financial or legal advice. We are learning out loud. So make sure you do your own research with any of our takes, any of our information. Always consult professionals before making major financial or career decisions, man. So we're gonna go ahead, hop into it, man. You wanna what we diving into first, man?
Man, I'm looking at what's on the menu, man. I think it's only right, since you kind of already set it off with the TSMC. Let's talk about TSMC super cycle, right? Let's talk about the numbers. The 56 billion in capex for 2026, up 25% from last year. The big deals going on. They're building it towards America. I think in Arizona they're building a site up, so that's also part of the initiatives to bring things to America. That's more of a political thing, but just thinking about how things move forward, because right now it's fully foreign, but once it becomes stateside, there's more opportunities there. And also as that relates to the AI market. So understanding how this relates to NVIDIA and all these chip manufacturers, I think you just can't deny the opportunity there, and how that's impacting everything moving forward. So the black box for this, if I had to make a black box for it, if you aren't with TSM, NVIDIA, or ASML, you are just a customer. You want to make sure you are being involved with the big dogs on the street, and TSM, the only 2 nanometer and 3 nanometer game in town.
Nah, man, that's huge, man. I think like including semiconductor as well. I think this has just been like a crazy week for AI, and I kind of want to talk about Apple and Google's partnership, right? Like, so for previously, Google was paying I think Apple like 20 billion a year just to make Google like the default search engine on Safari. A lot of people don't even realize that, but Apple is now paying Google $1 billion annually for Gemini to be integrated with Siri software stack. Gemini is going to power the redesigned Siri launching in 2026. This is also important because Google also just passed Apple's market cap as well. They're the newest in the $4 trillion market cap club. I believe the only other companies were NVIDIA, Microsoft, Apple, and now Google. And 2025 was Google's best year since 2009. So when you ask about which hyperscalers are positioning themselves best to dominate AI, it's to me it's Google. Like far and wide. Like I think like we're starting to see outside of the capex spending and the big upfront costs and data centers and infrastructure and whatnot, you're seeing like the direction that a lot of these big companies are going, right? So Apple is playing catch up, right? You know, Tim Cook, excellent leader, awesome executive, but everybody else they killing, bro. Like he's behind, very, very behind. And he made a mistake. Apple being like a hardware, like a consumer, like consumables company, they were reactive instead of proactive, man. Like they waited to see like how everyone else is kind of, and it's crazy because Apple is usually like a set the tone, set the pace type of company, man. It's like when they drop, they change up the whole market. But it's like when it came to AI and implementing it into the technology, they are dead last, right?
It's like a polar opposite from Meta, from what Mark Zuckerberg's doing.
That's what I'm saying. And Meta, Meta's done a crazy job of pivoting, bro. Because I don't know how many people are like familiar with like the metaverse, but that was a complete flop. Like Meta has gone from being a software company to going into the metaverse, spending all this money, posting all this crazy AI talent to kind of dominating like the wearable space. You know, out of the meta glasses, but it's like they're like Zuck's like the way that he just spends money without a second thought, bro. Like I think it's clear as day that like these executives and these leadership of these hyperscale companies, they're willing to do and pay whatever price tag it is to position themselves to be first. But I think broadly speaking, like Google is just blowing everybody else out the water, bro. It's not even close to me. I called this last week. I think they're going to continue to dominate this year because they just have like, I feel like it's kind of hard to beat a company that essentially owns the internet, bro.
100%. They are the number one search engine by
market share, by everything, by every metric you can possibly think of, man. So
wait, and to double click on what you said with the Meta point, right? There's a reason Apple is relying on this partnership. Like they kind of need this because, as we know, Apple's the type of company they'll plan something out for years before it actually comes out.
Yes.
The Vision Pro, the Apple Car, allegedly. Pretty sure, you know, that if you follow the paperwork, they hired a bunch of automotive people and then let them go. And I think they did admit that. But someone fact checked me. And on the opposite, you have Meta. They pivot. They cut their losses and pivot. You know, it's unfortunate that people in the metaverse, you know, that layoffs and things like that happen. But as a company, agility, you know, everyone talks about agile movement. You have to be fluid, especially in the space that we're in now. So I think that's just a story, not just for companies, but also for you as an individual. Think of yourself as a company. If you take 7 years to make your move, someone's going to beat you to it, and you're just going to be that old pony that no one wants to mess around with, you know?
Yeah, man. So I am happy that Apple made this move because it was like, if it's not now, it's going to be never, man. So just for some additional context on both the Apple and the TSMC points for, you know, people who are kind of dropping in and tuning in. Apple delayed their AI-powered Siri upgrade multiple times, even after they advertise. And Apple is known for its incredible marketing, right? Like the way that they market their products and their next release in whatever cycle, whether it's MacBook, iPhone, AirPods, they are known for their marketing, bro. But yeah, like I said, they finalized a deal to use a custom Gemini model. Apple currently partners with OpenAI for ChatGPT integration, but it's unclear about how that's going to turn out in the future. And then on a separate token, TSMC, they are sold out of advanced packaging capacity through 2026. So this is the bottleneck for all AI chips. And I think I said this in the first episode, but like when it comes to understanding infrastructure and like understanding what companies are going to be the ones to dominate and to be survivors after AI has gone through all of its rollout phases, you have to understand which companies are disruptors, which are like who is dependent on each other, right? So the packaging technology that TSMC produces, it's the bottlenecks for AI chips. So Apple, NVIDIA, AMD all depend on TSMC. And you can look at this from another argument on why Google is so valuable, because they're one of the only companies that does not rely on them. So it's like when you're evaluating companies and trying to kind of like, parse through all the crazy headlines and all the news about this company is going to pop off, be a 200% gainer. You really have to just kind of like in times like these, like stick to the fundamentals and understand like the companies that are proven, the companies that have shown that it's more than just hype, and that they can really create like excellent profit margins and obviously get a return on your investment. But yeah, man, it's like I said, it's definitely a lot. I think as someone, especially for people who are beginner investors, new to the space, new to understanding AI and its impact on markets, on how it disrupts industries, how it affects workflows, how it affects the economy. But just kind of like remembering those fundamentals and what companies are like, the ones that really make changes are it's always important, man. So yeah, that's our kind of big top tech and AI news. We always got to start out with that. But what we jumping into next? We getting into the Trump thing, or we getting into OpenAI?
We're on the AI topic already. Let's jump into OpenAI, and then come back around for the Trump topic. So OpenAI, they have a lot of partnerships, a lot of opportunities going on, and they are actively working to, I guess, somewhat switch from a nonprofit to a for-profit organization, right? And as a part of that, there's talks of them introducing ads, or is that confirmed that they are bringing ads? I know they were doing some tests with that, but that's happening, right?
No, that's confirmed news. There's plenty of articles, CNBC, Yahoo, Bloomberg. Yeah, it's going to be coming in the next few weeks if you're using the freer $8 a month version.
So $8 a month free, you're basically pay to have a convenient experience. I mean, the AI space, it's already, there's a lot of confusion with people who don't really know about credits when you're using AI credits, and then ChatGPT didn't really have the credit limit on there, but now there's an ad thing. So there's changes, right? And they also added 800 million monthly users, but it hasn't turned a profit. So you have to think they're pushing the envelope in the AI space. They're trying to catch up to Google. And how do they do that? It's through you. You are the customer. It's the same way you think about, not to jump topics, but it's very similar to the Netflix Paramount situation, where Netflix spending this money to acquire Paramount. Someone's going to have to eat that cost, because it's not real money. It's the stock price. It's the share value. And it's a similar situation here. OpenAI has not been profitable, and they have to justify this somehow.
Yeah, man, and the big thing about ads, OpenAI, like this is not only a big year for OpenAI, but I think a big year for IPOs in general, right? So, for anyone that's new or may not understand, IPO is an initial public offering. That's when a company, privately held or private company, goes public to be traded, in the stock market, right? There are certain companies that are valued higher or lower based on, kind of like it's a number of factors, but the big thing that you kind of need to understand is that this is a big year for IPOs. A lot of companies are rushing to kind of put through SEC filings to get themselves trading, going on the trade floor. Notably, OpenAI, obviously with Sam Altman and team, SpaceX with Elon Musk, Databricks, right? There's a few others, but those four kind of like the top kind of like competitors, not competitors, but kind of like the top dogs when it comes to breaking through to being publicly traded companies. So with AI, this is interesting because originally the CEO Sam Altman back in 2024, he said that he hates ads and that he called combining AI with ads uniquely unsettling. But obviously things have changed over the last year or two. Um, it's a it's different. The company's in a different space, right? Like they're spending on compute, and when you're preparing for an IPO, principles get expensive. Things get expensive. So this from a black box perspective, once again, nothing to do with our employers or any of our partnerships, but
Yeah.
to me, this is OpenAI's declaration of war on Google's ad business, which to some people sounds like a suicide mission. But an important statistic I think would be kind of give this argument a bit more context. Conversion rates for AI recommendations are 23 times higher than traditional search because ChatGPT pre-qualifies you through conversation. And so we have to understand how powerful that is. You didn't click on a random ad. You quite literally asked for help. Like, I think you have to think about it like this. When you use ChatGPT, think about the number of things that you ask it. It probably knows you've probably done told ChatGPT about every single thing about you. It knows everything about you. You use it every single day. You ask it, what should I eat tonight? What should I do tomorrow? Right? Like the people that can't live without ChatGPT. When you implement ads and it leverages the pre-existing data, the memory, and the conversations that you have with it to generate personalized advertisements for you and you only, bro.
Yeah.
Do you know, and you have 800 million monthly users? Out of 800 million people, how many people do you genuinely think are like going to resist the ad at the bottom of their chat box? If I just had a full 5-minute conversation with ChatGPT about avocado oil, about which brand of avocado oil is the best, and it links me at the bottom some Costco and Trader Joe's olive oils. It's right there. I may as well click it. Like they are about to be like, and I think they're in a position where it's like they can potentially be more powerful than Google from the
Yeah.
position of advertisement, because Google currently is like they run not only the search market market share, but also the advertised market share. And so I don't know. I think it's interesting, man. I think it like I said, this is their declaration of war. How it turns out,
Yeah.
we're gonna see. But I would definitely like to see users' reactions, how people react to seeing ads in a chat windows, and seeing like how many people go run over to Perplexity, run over to Anthropic with Claude, run over to Gemini. Like I just want to see how that kind of like shifts the chatbot space for real.
I mean, they might be upset. A lot of people they get pretty intimate with ChatGPT. I
Yeah,
see
bro.
people on LinkedIn. They're talking about, I was talking to OpenAI. It was my best friend.
Yeah,
they're having
dog.
intimate, really serious, almost inappropriate conversations with the chat box, right? And that's data that OpenAI has already said that if someone confesses a crime to ChatGPT and the government or the law enforcement requests that information, they'll happily hand it over with your face stapled to it. Yeah, this is them, and they said this and that. So same way with Google, right? They collect data.
Mm-hmm.
People do these searches, and Google targets you with these or they feed it to the advertisement sharks. OpenAI will be no different, except people have become so disassociated from reality. Some, not everyone, obviously, but some people, and so connected with AI, they're ruining their lives and committing crimes and marrying AI, that they're literally giving so much of themselves that they don't even know that this is all data. Like people think the chatbot is the product,
Nah,
or
bro.
that's not the product. Like
Yeah.
you are
You are
powering.
you are
You are
the
the product. You're feeding the product to make yourself the product. If that makes sense, it's like you're eating yourself almost.
yeah, bro. And like when you start throwing in the numbers in there, like the actual numbers, OpenAI, they've committed 1.4 trillion to AI infrastructure over the next 8 years.
Can't even fathom that.
Like that's one of them those numbers that you kind of glare at and you can't even imagine that kind of money. You couldn't imagine that amount of money in your mind even if you wanted to, bro. Like so yeah, I don't know. I think it's a very they're putting themselves in a very it's just going to be a very rambunctious 2026 for them with the IPO, with bringing in ads, and I believe the current stance is 2 knots for Plus and Pro subscribers. So the people that pay $20 a month, they're ad free. But the question is obviously going to be like, for how long? Once they implement this revenue model and all the free people start, they start seeing that money come in from that. What's stopping them from, you know what I'm saying, from either adding ads to the $2,200 a month, or even adding a new tier that's even more expensive that really is ad free? So what's stopping them from giving all layers ads and then making a $500 a month version that's the only ad free version? So I think I think it's one of those moves where it's just like, we got to stop the bleeding. I don't see it as, I don't see it as anything other than that. I think it's like one of those things where it's like, hey, I know what I said, but we got to be real. We spent $1.4 trillion over the next 8 years. Who's writing that check, right? So I think this is a good kind of way to start because it's hard to compete with a business like Google, who has so many streams of revenue in the billions across cloud, across search, across ads, across the Google Cloud suite. Like, it's tough to compete. So I think that they are this is kind of like that first step towards fighting back, because a lot of people argue that Gemini is a better model and it gives better responses and answers, and that may be true, but until that monthly user number kind of gets a little less imbalanced, then and a lot, to be honest with you, the casual AI user, I don't think is too worried about the absolute best model, right? They're looking for something convenient. And it's the same reason that even if Bing was better than Google, you're not going to go to Bing over Google because of the convenience. And that's quite literally like ChatGPT is capitalized on convenience. So it's like, yeah, I'm sure most people would rather ChatGPT than Google stuff now. So it's like, it's really one of those things you kind of got to see how it plays out. But yeah, man, I just know it's going to be interesting, man. For
That's
sure, it's
why
definitely
they
going.
probably included there. It's when you go on Google, it's immediately Gemini. It's the
Yeah,
first thing you
it's
see.
and yes, and I don't even remember when they started doing that, but it's like I've become so desensitized to it now. It's normal now, right? Like, because before, when you look up Google, like a few years ago, you look up a Google search, it's going to be nothing but links. AI mode is always the first thing that pops up now, and it's like, I don't even know when they did that, but that just became like the new norm. That just became like, that's the
Dang.
new Google now, and it's like you can jump into AI mode and do deep, like, so it's very interesting to, I think, how they've just kind of like rolled out these features, and they've just become the new normal, right? So yeah, it's
Quick question for you, real quick. Just
uh
for OpenAI, what do you think their initial IPO will be? Whenever they IPO, just
it's really going to be crazy, because like from what it sounds like, they're supposed to be they're supposed to have the most expensive, them or SpaceX are going to have probably the most expensive IPOs in history. Like, that's like, I don't think people realize like how like insane that is as a private company to have a $1 trillion valuation before you go public.
crazy.
Do you know how many rounds of funding, highly like just how highly regarded you have to be as a product, as a company, as an organization with executive leadership? Like, how highly, just how did you have to be to even grace a $1 trillion valuation before you even go public? So I can tell you now, it's not going to be no $30 share company, bro. Like, it's going to be like, and it also depends on the number of shares. Because I did read somewhere that they are setting aside, and let me double check this, like while we live. Like, they're setting they're setting aside a certain number of billions in dollars for specifically for company, like for employee equity compensation, because Sam, he's literally minting millionaires. um like, it's the same thing as like working in Nvidia when the stock um kind of blew up. Like,
Yeah.
it's going to be one of those situations. So it really depends on the number of shares they release. But yeah, exactly. This is it. This actually article came out earlier this week. You can check on anywhere, Wall Street Journal, Yahoo Finance, whatever. But OpenAI, they are putting aside $50 billion for the employee stock grant pool. That's 10% of the company. They've
Those
already
pe-
get like that's they've already given $80 billion in vested equity, which, along with the stock grant pool, comprises about 26% of the company. So they've been in preliminary talks with some investors about raising funds at a valuation of around 750 billion. Um, and that's a 50% jump from their $500 billion valuation in October. So I said 1 trillion as like a future reference, because I'm almost positive they're going to have a $1 trillion valuation by the time they IPO. Um,
100%.
so Yeah, you just got to think about that. To have that much money aside, to put aside 10, 20, 25% of your company just for employee like vesting and compensation, bro. If
Those
that stock
people,
goes up,
they're out of there. Just like in Nvidia, when that stock
hmm
blew up, a lot of people left because they've been there 5, 10
hmm
years. They're millionaires. They're they're
you're
good
not
to
worried no
go.
more. You're
And
not, yeah.
honestly, you keep bringing up SpaceX too. I was listening to once again, shout out the guys at Market Mondays, EYL University, and that whole camp. They were talking about, is that going to make Elon a trillionaire?
Oh yeah. Oh, without. Oh,
He
are you kidding me? Yes. No
he's
question.
he's
No question.
no question. Elon, he's set it up. I don't know what the status on that deal is. He was working out with Tesla to where they were supposed to pay him out 1 trillion if he hits, these stringent targets and
hmm
goals. But between Tesla, I think once SpaceX takes off, Tesla's going to be, for him at least, not an afterthought, but it's going to go down the tier for sure. And after that, it's Starlink. He has set himself up. I mean, think about him what you will. In terms of somebody who's making impact, who's driving revenue, who's cementing their name, and trying to erase any memory of Mansa Musa. That's him. The Mansa Musa thing, you can never erase that.
Yeah.
But apparently, I forgot who said it, but allegedly somebody said, we got to stick together, referring to certain people got to stick together so they can, I guess, replace those Mansa Musa memories.
Man, it's yeah, man. It's like I said, it's gonna be a very interesting 2026, man. So, for all our listeners, man, make sure you are staying abreast of market news. You understand. I'm not saying you gotta sit on Yahoo Finance for 20 hours, all day, like and read every single article. But it's just good to have a general, fundamental understanding of what makes the market move, what makes stuff go up, what makes stuff go down. Be like it's nothing wrong with listening to the news, with being aware, with like knowing how our president's comments affects your life and the lives of those around you and how that affects the market. Like it's
Locked and
nothing wrong.
loaded.
Yeah, it is absolutely like please do not and that's one of those rabbit hole conversations where it's like that's one of those things where like our people look at as bruh, why you listen to the news, bruh, like, what I'm saying? So just stay abreast, stay informed, stay educated because nobody can take that from you, man. So on the while we on the topic of Trump, man, we gonna jump into a couple headlines that I think if you are just somewhat following the news, you should have seen, man. So there's crazy stories of the week, man. So Trump said, like Thomas just said, Trump said the US was locked and loaded to strike Iran over protester killings. And because of this, oil spiked 11%, gold and silver surged. And then 48 later after that announcement, Trump backed down saying the killing has stopped. And then the markets immediately stabilized. And Trump's also Greenland takeover talks with Denmark, that ended in a fundamental disagreement. And so Denmark said a U.S. attack would end NATO. And so for my people who may not be aware of what NATO is and what its purpose is, and the NATO stands for North Atlantic Treaty Organization. It's a military and political science alliance formed in 1941 by North American and European countries to provide collective security and defend its members from threats rooted in democratic values like liberty, human rights, and the rule of law. So there's a lot to unpack there. I'm not going to lie. There's quite a bit to
Too
unpack
much.
there. Yeah, I mean, I think this is low key like an infinite topics glitch because it's always something, bro.
Yeah, always. I mean,
Yeah,
especially if you wanna talk focusing on Iran, man. I was checking, over 12,000 feared dead after the protest, man. The government over there, they killed 12,000 people allegedly, and I'm seeing that from multiple sources. You check it yourself. It might go up. Who knows? And this is impactful because For those who don't know, it was in the 70s when the Islamic Revolution there took place in the first place. So before that happened, it was very similar. I've heard it described as kind of like America in the sense of the way of life, how people dressed and things like that. And then there was a shift happen, which had, political motivations behind it, allegedly, outside influence, allegedly. And fast forward to now, the same regime that was pushed back then is now being pushed out by forces. And the way that I'm reading as the government, they're justifying what they're doing is that these protests, these risings are an act against their religion, and therefore they have to stop it. That's their justification that I've read, that I've found. And there's so much to unpack there, but if we're looking at it from a standpoint of Trump and America and money, unfortunately it's all money, and people are losing their lives. It's ridiculous, right? But the oil, this is all for control. Even the Greenland play, it's all for control. It's all, we want to have a presence. But you look at Greenland, the U.S. has free reign with the military there. I believe they pulled the military base out, but officials in Denmark and Greenland, they've said, yeah, the U.S. can come and basically do whatever they want. It's just they can't own it. Like, it's not an issue of security. And I think that applies both to the Middle East, because not just with Iran, but we've seen with plenty of other countries in the Middle East, it's all control. Outside parties want to come in and control because it's a key regional location in geopolitics.
Yeah, and so it's just to add some more context for listeners who may not be super kind of like up to speed on the entire Iran situation. The Iranian government is at its weakest point in 2 years. And like Thomas said, this is about oil. Iran has a massive oil industry. They're the sixth largest oil producer in the world. They produce about 3.2 million barrels of oil per day on average. That's according to OPEC, which is the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. It's and actually, as of 10 minutes ago, Trump, he actually just thanked Iran for halting executions. Iran canceled the hanging of over 800 people. Trump told reporters while leaving the White House to spend the weekend at his estate in Palm Beach, Florida, adding that he greatly respected the move. So yeah, so this is
crazy.
this is starting to become like, and like, he has some of the same tactics when it comes to tariffs. It's like he likes to do like he likes to bait people to say he'll do something, then he'll back up and he'll say like, the thing is, like, I wouldn't even be so crazy to call his threats empty, because I know he'll do it. Right? Like, it's like,
He would do it.
we be thinking he's joking sometimes, saying, "Oh, I'll nuke you. Oh, I'll send so and so to your country and do that." But can we really put that past him when he's doing, like, deploying military force in our own American cities? Like, can we really? Do you really? If he doesn't have sympathy for people up in Minnesota, Chicago, DC, and LA, letting ICE run rampant, do whatever they want. Mind you, ICE is full of guys off the street.
Yeah.
Like these are like plumbers.
No training, man.
Who took a gun class, and now they just wear ski masks, and now they just special ops. This is the same dude sending them type guys on the most major, some of the most densely populated cities in America. But we think he won't do that to an opposing country that he probably can't point out on a map. I don't think so, man.
I care about him.
Yeah, no, I don't think. And it's like, we see this time and time again, and I think that is one of them. I think age is starting to get the best of him. Even I'm sure a few of y'all have seen, but just recently it was like, oh yeah, I don't remember what $2,000 tariff checks I promised you all. I never said that. Mind you, my guy is on tape, like 4K. Like, you can't get better video image quality if you saying the exact same thing. But yeah, man. So this is.
Wait, I was gonna say, just on that, don't forget the crypto billionaire, the Binance founder that was pardoned, and
Man,
he said,
forgot about that, bro.
I don't even know who that. What do you say? I just
he didn't even know who he
paper.
pardoned. Like, he pardons people with, like, he pardons like mass murderers and like, it just seemed like a nice guy.
Yeah, that's what we're dealing with here. That's what's going on. So,
Come on, cuz. Like,
you gotta think, like, even for the people like who this isn't even political, if we're being honest here. This is not a political. This doesn't matter what side you're on, right?
Yeah.
This is like stuff you need to be aware of for your safety. You got to know who's in charge. So some people laugh and they say, "Oh, he keeps things interesting. Things were boring under Biden. Nothing was happening, blah, blah, blah. And Trump, he keeps it exciting." You
I don't
shouldn't
want it.
want
I don't. Why
exciting.
would I want exciting, bro? Why would I
Like,
want exciting nukes, exciting war, and exciting like you're just perpetuating violence and fear and mayhem across the entire country, and you're also making inflation worse, and also like making it
what happened to the
impossible
processes,
to.
man?
Hey, man.
Like real process, you vote, but neither here nor there.
Yeah, man. For to make this a bit more practical and not just news talk, we want to give y'all some insight on kind of like what this means. So, like we said before, right? Like, since 2026 has started, geopolitics and these headlines have mattered a bit, like less and less, on how the market is affected, right? Like we still see the market at all time highs. In a normal world, in a normal world, a headline like this wouldn't be happening every day. But in a normal world, these headlines would be causing a lot more fluctuations than we're seeing. But unless oil supply gets completely disrupted, like actually disrupted, or a major war starts, not a threat, traders, their sentiment, they're ignoring headlines, right? The only thing that matters right now, Fed policy, and it's also important to keep, stay aware of that as the new Fed check comes in, and AI spending. Gold and silver, if you don't trust the market, that's the hedge. Thomas said that first episode, and that's just true. And like I said last week, this is not. I hope people understand this is normal. This is not normal. When gold and silver are at all-time highs, typically the market is falling. When the market is at all-time highs, gold, silver, and bonds are falling. That's not the case. Everything is an all-time high. So you can pick your route, figure out how you want to play it. Let it be known that these headlines, people still trying to print their money, bro. They not because they've seen it, right? Like they've seen all the empty threats, they've seen the back and forth, they've seen the threats of terrorists, the threats of invasion, the threats of war. The money's still printing, bro. Focus on that.
That got a
Control
lot
what
of
you can
people
control.
rich last year in April, March timeframe.
Yeah,
Those
yeah,
tariff announcements. I mean, Trump, what did he literally put a message out on Truth Social one time. I think he said like buy the stock or buy or something
yeah. Like he
along
be,
those lines.
yeah, man. You know how this go, man. But on that same note, when it comes to printing money, man, we're gonna go ahead and hop into our plays of the week. You know what I'm saying? We're going ahead, we're gonna introduce our lab segment, our weekly portfolio review, focusing on strategies of the week. Um First thing I think is important to kind of just outline the market sentiment. I think the best way to describe it is resilient optimism. S&P closed on Friday today at close to 7,069.40, near all-time highs, despite geopolitical chaos, bank sell-offs. All the finance stocks are down. Goldman Sachs reported earnings, jumped up crazy and then fell back down. But yeah, we both gonna go ahead and just kind of give y'all, a play that we're looking at for next week, forthcoming weeks, all of that. So you wanna jump off, or you want me to
Yeah,
start?
I can do mine real quick since it's kind of. I mean, it's you guys already know what I'm going with, man. TSM and TSM. I already spoke a whole lot about it earlier, man. But that Q4 profit was up 35%. The guidance for 2026 is expecting about a 30% growth.
Mm-hmm.
Covered the capex and the reasoning why earlier, but once again, TSM. Even I encourage, like I said, this is not financial advice, but I encourage all of you, if you can. We talked about this last week. Put some money into the market. Do your own research. Look at the trends. Look at the history. Understand the candlesticks. That helps. Not even just if you're doing trading. It helps more for trading, but understand the candlesticks, understand the charts, understand the markets you're getting into and the companies that you're looking into. And that's why I feel very strongly about TSM. Ever since I've first started going into that arena, it's been nothing but positive. And you can't check the day to day, man. One day it could be down whatever percent, next day it's up whatever percent. As long as that trend line is going up and to the right, you're good to go. So that's my play for this week. TSM, man.
Yeah, man, I like that. That's a great breakdown, man. Like I said, my man's consistent, man. He said this first week reported $56 billion in spend. That means AI infra. That means capex spending is not dead. It means it's still here. And I hope people understand that initial AI hype of these last 2 years, that was the first phase. There are several more phases of the AI rollout, and it's up to you to understand and research and know that. And so that is kind of like why I'm jumping into my play, my ticker, OKLO, and my kind of thesis, my background. It's the AI bottleneck situation. And I talked about this last week about the fundamental components are kind of like, or like better yet, the underlying sectors that kind of make up AI, right? So there's AI, of course. There's the big dogs. There's NVIDIA, our hyperscalers, our Google, our Meta, our Microsoft's. We know that there are underlying components. There's energy. There's storage. There's liquid cooling, right? There's nuclear energy. There's so many pieces that go. There's networking. There's fiber optic cabling. Like there are so many pieces that go into this, that go into building data centers. So the thing about AI, it's hit a physical wall. So data centers, they're the new oil refineries. They need 24/7 power. Wind and solar cannot provide that. The sun goes down, the wind stops blowing. Solution to that is nuclear. Um, and it's big to know that Meta and OKLO or OKLO, they just committed to 1.2 gigawatts from OKLO for the Prometheus AI supercluster. So let's understand this, right? So OKLO, they're a bro. The Department of Energy, right, a federal, government agency, they gave them formal authorization through a other transaction agreement to build and operate reactors before full approval. That's massive. That means that they can gather real operational data. They can see how it's doing. They're not stuck in like a testing phase, trying to validate phase, right? So if they pull this off, their capital upfront to secure nuclear fuel and advance to phase one. All the hyperscalers, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, they're going to need this. Right? When we talk about like having reliance on companies, like everybody needs an ASML because you need the machines. Everybody needs a TSM. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody needs an NVIDIA because you need the GPUs. This is my idea of the next company that's needed. Now there are companies that find ways, like I said, to remove themselves from their reliance, from their dependency. Google is a prime example with their in-house TPUs. But I think if they become the go-to source for the AI energy boom, I think that they would be the go-to. They could be a $50-60 billion company in a few years down the line. It's also backed by Sam Altman. Now, there are definitely some risk. Regulatory uncertainty is probably the biggest. Across, like, even though they have the DOE approval and whatnot, they still need NRC approval, combined license application approval. And you can't really have revenue until you get full regulatory clearance, so that's a big piece. But yeah, man, it's a couple of things, right? So technology deployment risk, valuation, like it's up, I believe 27% this year, went up 260% in 2025.
Jeez.
The CEO and the COO, they both sold $32 million in shares this past week. That's a potential sign of a little bit of insider overvaluation. They kind of know that it's cooked before the rest of the public knows. So I say, take that with a grain of salt because executives do that all the time. But yeah, that's like, long story short, it's a speculative, small allocation. I'm not saying max out your portfolio. Then I'm scaling in on dips below 80. So yeah, I ain't gonna lie, it's either gonna go two ways. Either gonna become the backbone of the AI industry, powering everybody through nuclear fission reactors, or they are a meme stock that gets cooked when reality hits. So we gonna see how it goes, man. But
Yeah. That's some solid info right there. Make sure y'all listen to that, man. Read in between the lines. Listen to how things are connected. Listen to the way things are going. And a misconception some people might have about nuclear. Nuclear is probably, I could be wrong. I'm sure there's something cleaner, but one of the cleanest forms of energy you can have. Right. Obviously, there's a ton of risk there. When you hear nuclear, you think of Chernobyl, Godzilla, a bomb or something. Like, you think of all
yeah,
bad things, but when done correctly and there's those systems in place, it would help. And the AI movement is not going to be stopped, right? We don't want people to be in situations where they feel like they have to go, in a post-apocalyptic world, go and fight
yeah.
physically get into it with AI data centers because, like, oh, we got to tear these down so we can, that we don't want that to happen. I think one way nuclear, that's a great bet right there. And just think about in the future what that means.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, that's them. Those are our big headlines for the week, man. And then before we wrap things up, we did want to just do a little deep dive right quick into it's actually a recommendation from one of our early supporters. What I'm saying, shout out my guy Dallas. He had reached out, says something that he wanted us
Sir.
to cover. But we wanted to talk about, so like, just, saying, we don't gotta drag it out too long, just touch on it briefly, but like some mistakes we made early in our careers and mistakes we've made investing early on. Because Like I said, we both definitely still early in career for sure, and both relatively early, I think, in our investing, uh, you know, horizons as well. So, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, shoot, man. I'll go ahead and crack this one open first, man. I career mistakes, just keep it short, man. Early career. Um, I'm not gonna say networking because although you should network, I see a lot of people get far just networking with the right people instead of
hmm
networking with all people. But my experience, early career mistake, just not doing your due diligence, right? Always assume there are things you don't know. So there's a saying out there, there are known knowns, there are known unknowns. There are unknown knowns and unknown unknowns. You determine what that means. It's pretty simple. You just got to think through it. But basically, you'll never know everything, right? So if your manager, your people on your team, the people you work with, they tell you, this is what you're going to do, this is everything. Don't think that's everything. There's always more to the process and things are always changing. So that's one of my mistakes, career wise, just not doing that and then having to deal with those repercussions later. So it causes like a hindrance. Also, investing mistakes, just not doing proper research. I understand like a lot of people, invest or make moves emotionally or with a gut feeling, and sometimes they're correct, other times they're not. So don't just listen to what everyone's saying. If everyone says buy the dip, don't just buy what you think is the dip because everyone said do it and the next day it drops another 20%. Do research, make educated decisions, and just be unemotional. Think of all the money that you're investing as money that's gone. Don't feel tied to that or let it control you.
yeah, man. Those are for sure some gems, bro. I think, same token. I think just like I said, I'm still learning. I do believe I've done a lot right early in my career, but I think there's also a ton I've done wrong. I think kind of like the biggest reason, not to sound cliche, but it's like, bro, do something that you love, bro. Like,
Facts.
you know, um, I will say that there are opportunities out there, that I think that will come across to people. And like I said, being real, a lot of the main thing that motivates a lot of people is money. And that's natural, right? That's how we fund our lifestyle. That's how we put food on the table, take care of our families, put a roof over our head, clothes on our back. Um, but the biggest thing that you have to understand, right? And clarification, this has no correlation to my current employment at all. But I will say that like the biggest thing that you have to understand is like you cannot use 3 months of an internship, no matter how good or how bad it went, as the baseline for how you like expectations for your full time employment. You have to understand that as an intern, you are a seasonal employee. You are there for 3 months out of the year. When you are full time, there's an entire other 9 months that you have to get through and perform the same way. So, internships are an awesome way to kind of get your foot in the door and understand, like, get a taste of a company. But you have to understand that like money should not be the only motivator. You have to love what you do what you love, and the rest will fall into place. To make a decision solely off of money, to understand, obviously there's a financial impact, but you can't put your mental health like on the back burner because it's going to come back and bite you later, man. So, I think that's what I would say for my for mistakes, early in career. I think that's pretty applicable to anybody, an undergraduate or even, starting out early in their career who may be rethinking where they at or what the best place is for them. And I think for investing, bro, I could go on a an insanely long list for this one, but I think biggest mistake I've ever made for investing, it's having a 1 day time horizon and not a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year horizon. Right. Like one thing I've learned after investing for these past couple years is like you can't like that's the same thing I said about Tim Cook. You can't be reactive to the market. Right? Like you can't panic sell when everything is selling, or you like, and it's tough when you first get into investing because you're literally seeing your money lose, like you're seeing yourself lose money in real time, and that's a crazy feeling. Like it's one thing to lose a bet because the thing about bets is that they're outright, right? Like so, it's like if he doesn't get this three, I didn't get it. But when you invest, you can see your money literally go down and down and down and down and down and down. And for someone who's new to investing, it's very hard to just watch that happen, but you have to understand that like you literally have to like zoom out, right? You have to literally zoom out when you're investing It's not about tomorrow. It's not about next week. It's about where am I at a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Like I had to change my mindset from trying to like get quick gains to literally a wealth building mindset. I'm holding. If you have conviction in a stock or an asset, you hold. Like you let it compound, you let it build, you let it gain interest. You do not when it gets bad. If anything, now I buy when it's red. I love me some red. Not too much, but I love when it's red. I love a pullback. I love a correction because it allows me to deploy more capital to get myself back in there. Right? And I think yeah, that's probably the biggest mistake, man. You got to expand the time horizons, bro. You have got to expand your time horizons, bro. You're not investing for tomorrow. You are investing for your children and your children's children, bro. Think about that time frame.
Man, let that sink in for a second, y'all. Wait. Malcolm just hit y'all with some fire. Is that's what it should feel like, right? Malcolm hit y'all with some fire with 2 points. Two, find something you love, right? You only live one life. Chase the
One,
money.
bro.
We've met people who have no goals, no ambitions, no motivations other than money. We know people
Yeah,
like
bro.
this.
Yeah.
And not saying there's anything wrong with that, but everyone's not like that, right? Everyone's not gonna be comfortable just having nothing to get them out of bed other than than the check, right? So think about what makes you happy. I guarantee you'd rather be living well and happy with your life than you have tons of money, but you go home to a broken house, or you're just unhappy with what you do. And really, the second point, listen to Malcolm's word for what he said. Don't take what I'm saying. What he said was really impactful, right? Because expand your time horizons. Think about how you want things to look for your family. This to me goes beyond investing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
You be stuck in the day to day, like, bro.
Hey
We
man,
know people that stuck day. It's survival mode.
open it up. I ain't gonna lie, bro.
Got to, bro.
Facts.
Got to. Man, because for people who still listen to this, man, this is the juice right here. This is the black box, right? This goes back to the point when you get one life. You get one. All it takes is one day to ruin that. All it takes is 1 second to ruin that. Think about, how do you want things to be for your family? I'm not talking about just money or, risky activity. When you're thinking about living a certain lifestyle, doing certain things, think about the repercussions of that. If you might not be worried about how something affects you, you want to have kids one day, right? Do you want to pass on something to them? Do you want to pass on the trauma to them? What do you want your family and your kids to have? Do you want them to have good memories, good teachings, lessons, good energy? Or do you want to pass on more trauma, more struggle, more stress than
Cycle.
necessary? It's a cycle. Break the cycle. And we are in the day and age, there's no excuse. You have access to the internet. You have access to so many things. I mean, look at what's going on. Not to just say the stereotypical thing, but look at what's happening around the world. There's people literally getting slaughtered for their freedom. There's people getting slaughtered because they don't believe in the same thing that their government believes in, or they have to live a different life because they live in an oppressive situation where they don't even have access to information, education, things.
Yeah.
There's places where women can't even go to school, go to college, get education, do something more with life other than do what they're told. So while we're here, yes, America has problems. Everywhere has problems. Things are not perfect, but there's so much more opportunity. Don't fall into the trap. Don't fall into the day-to-day. It's not about making a quick $50 play one day. However, you get it. You can go throw it on a parlay to hope it 10x. Like, think long term, and I guarantee you, man, some of the vices, we all have a vice. Some of the vices that we spend our money on, our time on, our energy on, like,
We can live without it for sure.
yeah.
For
Wait,
for
come on.
for sure, man. Nah, man. My guy dropping gems, man, per usual, man. So we gonna make sure we close y'all out with a good lesson. So we this is our takeaway section. So if you do nothing else, this is what you should do. Monday morning, you open your brokerage account and you look at what's in there.
Well, actually, not this Monday, right? Will the markets be
Oh
closed?
yeah, my bad. Shout out MLK. Shout out MLK, man. That's not
MLK.
there is no, there are only, I believe, 252 trading days in a year. MLK Day is not one of them. Go be with your family. Go, what I'm saying, celebrate. Just celebrate where you at right now and appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? And do some research on Dr. King, man. But Tuesday, Open your brokerage account and look at your portfolio allocation. Do you see any semiconductor companies in there? Do you have a commodity? The answer to no. If the answer to both is no, you are you're cooked, unfortunately, right? Like you're cooked. Like you're betting that AI infrastructure spending continues and geopolitics stays calm. That's 2 bets, not 1. So next Friday, hopefully, you add some exposure into semis, and you also get some exposure into our hot commodities, our golds, our silvers, our coppers. Like I said before, you do not want to be reactive to the market. You want to be you want to be proactive. So do not wait for a crisis. Hedges work before the crisis. They do not work after. That's how a hedge works. You're betting against something.
Knowledge.
Hey man.
Or message. That's what they said. Message.
Oh, see, man. That's my take, man. I'm gonna let Thomas go ahead and close us out.
Yeah, so just by next week, give you guys some more homework, man. Make a list of 5 companies you think are AI winners. AI, no matter how you feel about it, that's the future. So are these companies making money from AI? Are they driving revenue, or are they just releasing news and knowledge and saying that they're going to partner with the people actually pushing the AI? You want to look at the source. So that's your homework. Make a list of 5 companies doing this. Just think on that, right? But to close us out, man, the box is open. Geopolitics they're geopoliticking, man. I mean, straight up, they're doing their thing. They're everywhere. Stocks are hitting all-time highs. War tensions are constantly being talked about, and just make sure you believe the truth, not the hype. Watch what's going down and stay aware of your surroundings. Don't let them play in your face. Just like that.
Hey, man, this is the Black Box Theory. We appreciate y'all tuning in. As always, man, we will catch y'all next week. Break it down some more, man. So we appreciate y'all as always. Looking forward to it. Hopefully you got some out of this, and we'll talk to y'all next time.
Bless up, man. Peace.
Peace out, man.